welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going beyond just looking at art. We're diving into the fascinating world where art and mindfulness, well, they kind of intertwine. Our guide. Excerpts from a 2007 master's thesis.
Ooh, a thesis. Okay.
Yeah, it's by a Thai artist named SRIMATYAKUN. The title itself is so intriguing. Balance, body, mind.
I like it already.
Right. It explores the connection between the body and breath during meditation. But here's the twist. She expresses it all through printmaking.
Wow, that's a unique approach. It's not often that you see philosophy and art linked so directly.
I know.
This thesis is particularly interesting because it pulls from both Buddhist and Taoist philosophies.
Oh.
She observed how both inner and outer environments can influence our breath and ultimately our well-being.
That's true, yeah. And get this, she uses a very specific type of printmaking, Japanese woodblock watercolor printing, to create pieces that really delve into themes like air quality and breathing rhythm.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
So how do you turn the experience of breathing into art?
I'm curious.
Well, the thesis starts by highlighting this idea that the body and breath are inseparable.
Okay.
And finding balance between the two is essential for a healthy life. It's not just about physical health either.
Right.
It's mental and spiritual well-being too.
Absolutely. And she doesn't just focus on meditation in a vacuum. She looks at how daily routines and emotions affect our breath. Have you ever noticed how your breath changes when you're stressed or excited?
All the time.
Even the environment we meditate in can make a difference.
It's amazing how much we take our breath for granted, though. But she didn't just theorize about all this. She actually experimented.
Oh, wow.
She documented her own breath while meditating. She even used a bell to mark the rhythm, and then translated those recordings into visuals.
So she turned the sound of her breath into an image.
Yeah. Can you imagine that?
That's incredible. What's fascinating is how she developed a visual language for something that's normally invisible. You can actually see the layered, overlapping nature of breath in her prints.
I love that.
She uses these soft colors and subtle shifts in tone to create ethereal forms representing the human figure.
I can almost picture it. It's like looking at a hazy silhouette or wisps of smoke layered on top of each other. She even used metallic gold paint in some of the prints. It gives them this amazing shimmering texture, like sunlight filtering through the air.
I love that. The use of gold is really clever. It adds visual complexity, but it also has a deeper meaning. Gold is often used in traditional Buddhist art to symbolize enlightenment.
Right.
So she's connecting her artistic process to this rich spiritual tradition.
So what does all this mean for you, the listener? Why should you care about a Thai artist's thesis from 2007? Well, imagine taking a moment to pay attention to your breath, its rhythm, its texture, how it changes with your emotions and environment. This thesis encourages us to see breathing as a form of art.
Wow, that's beautiful. It's a powerful reminder that even something as basic as breathing can be a source of profound beauty and insight. When we take the time to truly observe it.
Yeah, it's a pathway to mindfulness, to connecting with our inner selves. And here's something to consider. If you could turn your breath into a piece of art, what would it look like? What colors and shapes and textures would you use to represent your unique rhythm? Hold on to that thought. We'll explore it further as we dive deeper into her work.
It's a fascinating challenge, isn't it? Capturing something as intangible as breath and making it into art. It speaks to her creativity for sure.
Yeah, and her commitment to that connection between the physical and spiritual.
Yeah.
Speaking of the physical, let's talk about the process of creating these prints. It's multi-step, right?
Oh, yeah. Each step shapes the final artwork.
Okay, so walk us through it. What's the first step?
It all starts with the wood block.
Yeah.
Traditionally, Japanese woodblock printing uses specific wood, like cherry or shino wood,
Okay.
known for their fine grain and
I
durability.
can see why that would be important.
Yeah, for those intricate designs. But she mentions in her thesis that she adapted her materials based on what was available in Thailand.
All right, makes sense. Artists have to be resourceful, so what did she use?
She ended up using plywood,
Yeah.
made from rubber wood and teak, both readily available in Thailand.
Interesting. So once she had the wood blocks, what was next?
She would transfer her sketches onto the wood and then meticulously carve away the areas that would remain unprinted.
Wow.
Imagine that focus. One slip could ruin the whole print.
I know, that's a lot of pressure. And she's creating multiple wood blocks for each print too, right? To layer the colors.
Exactly. And that brings us to the printing process, which is where the watercolor comes in.
Okay.
Watercolor printing on wood blocks is unique. You need dampened paper to get those soft transitions between the colors.
Ah, so that's how she gets those hazy effects.
Precisely. That dampened paper is placed on the inked woodblock, and then pressure is applied to transfer the image.
It's like a dance between control and letting go.
You said it. It's that balance between intention and chance, between structure and fluidity.
That makes this technique so captivating. When you look at her prints, you can really sense that interplay, that balance between the artist's hand and the natural flow of the materials.
Yeah. And don't forget about those gold accents. They're not just aesthetic. That gold represents enlightenment. A reminder that finding balance within ourselves is a path towards enlightenment.
It's like the gold is illuminating that path,
Yeah.
guiding us.
You know, as we're talking about this, I'm struck by how relevant her work is to our modern lives.
How so?
Well, we're constantly bombarded with distractions, things that pull us away from our bodies and our breath.
It's so true. We forget to be present.
But as this thesis shows us, paying attention to our breath can be a powerful tool
For sure.
for connecting with ourselves and finding peace.
It's like a form of meditation.
Exactly. And that mindfulness can extend into every aspect of our lives.
So we can bring that awareness to our work, our relationships.
Precisely. It's about cultivating a sense of presence in everything we do.
I love that. It's like recognizing that our lives are a reflection of our inner state.
Just like a piece of art, we can transform our own lives into a work of art, imbued with mindfulness, intention, and appreciation for the present moment.
That's powerful. It makes me want to look closer at the visual elements she uses.
Yes, let's delve into that. We've talked about the colors, the silhouettes, the gold, but there's so much more to unpack.
Like what?
Well, one thing that really struck me was her use of a limited color palette. She often works with just a few hues, which creates the sense of serenity in the prints.
Yeah, it makes sense when you think about the themes of balance and unity we've been talking about. It's like the colors themselves are working together to create a sense of wholeness.
Exactly. And then there's the way she plays with light and shadow. She uses subtle gradations to give the prints depth, even though they're two-dimensional.
Like she's sculpting with light and color, shaping those ethereal forms that represent the human figure.
And those forms are often depicted in motion too, suggesting the continuous flow of breath, the dynamism of the human experience.
It's like she's capturing a fleeting moment.
Yeah.
The ephemeral nature of breath, made visible through printmaking.
And yet, those moments are imbued with a sense of timelessness too. A reminder that the cycle of breath, of life itself, is eternal.
I'm also intrigued by how she incorporates natural elements. You mentioned trees earlier. What else did you notice?
Oh, there are often images of leaves, water, things like that. It's as if she's referencing the interconnectedness of all things.
The natural world is a source of inspiration
Right.
and grounding,
It's a reminder that we are part of something larger than ourselves.
connected to the rhythms and cycles of nature.
And that connection, just like the awareness of our breath, can be a source of peace and renewal.
A deeper understanding of our place in the grand scheme of things. You know, as we're talking, I'm realizing this deep dive has become about so much more than just her art. It's about understanding ourselves.
I think you're right. Her art is like a mirror, reflecting back our own inner landscapes, our search for balance and meaning.
It's like she's giving us a toolkit for life.
A toolkit.
Yeah, reminding us to breathe, to be present, to connect.
In a mindful way. And those tools, just like breathing, are always available to us, no matter what challenges we face.
It's a message of hope.
It really is.
So as we wrap up, what are some key takeaways for our listeners?
Well, I hope they'll be inspired by her vision, her ability to translate these philosophical concepts into art.
Her work is a testament to the power of art.
To inspire, to challenge, to transform. I also hope listeners will be encouraged to explore their own relationship with their breath.
To cultivate awareness of their bodies.
Yes.
And to see the potential for finding beauty in everyday experiences.
Like simply breathing.
Exactly.
And lastly, I hope they'll remember that we're all interconnected, part of a larger web of life, and that our actions have an impact.
It's a message of responsibility, compassion, and hope.
It is.
And a message that feels so relevant today. This has been a truly enriching deep dive.
It has. It's been a pleasure exploring this with you.
And with you, dear listener. We hope this sparked your curiosity and inspired you to seek out balance and beauty in your own life.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep breathing.
And keep diving.